Well, hello everybody. And today I have a special day and I have a special guest. Why special? Because it's from far away. And this person is a very inspiring personality and can teach us a lot and can teach us a very simple thing, which you do it every day and you do it approximately 20,000 times per day, is to breathe. So please welcome Brule. Hi.
Good to be here.
Yeah, I'm so happy. I'm so happy you made it. And the first question is like, is there a way to breathe in a wrong way? Is there such a thing like bad breathing?
There's no one right way to breathe, but there are universal fundamentals in everything. There are basics. I'm very suspicious of anyone who has one right, true way. Life isn't that black and white and simple, but there are fundamentals. Many people have asked me that. There are so many different breathing exercises and techniques and methods and styles and approaches in schools and ancient and modern. And if there was only one breathing that I should practice, like what would it be? And I have like a three-part answer to that, because one is breathe in a way that makes you most conscious. Yeah. Breathe in a way that awakens this capacity for mindfulness, for being in the present moment, for being just breathe in a way that increases your awareness, expands your awareness, become more conscious. Whatever breathing exercise makes you more conscious, that's the best one. The other is, how do you breathe to relax yourself? Because there's an epidemic of stress and anxiety on this planet, and it's only getting worse. And if you don't know how to let go, if you don't know how to relax, stuff builds up inside of you and causes every form of disease and illness and cognitive dysfunctions and deficits. And so the ability to vent stress, to release tension, that's a skill. And so any breathing practice or technique that relaxes you, that's perfect. And the third is learning to breathe in a way to generate energy or access energy. So it's not just breathing air. There's a breath within the breath. There's the spirit in the breath. Mm-hmm. In the East, they call it prana or chi or ki or, life force. Mm-hmm. That's the real art. How do you breathe energy and not just air? Mm-hmm. So if you can find one breathing exercise that makes you more conscious, helps you relax, and gives you energy, that's it.
Oh, wow. Does it exist just one way with all three components, or it should be like three different ways of breathing? What do you say?
In the beginning, I would practice each one by itself, and then your intuition and a good coach and practice, you can start to integrate them. So you're breathing in a way that strengthens you, and you're breathing in a way that soothes you. You're learning, I think one of the most powerful things is to learn how to channel emotional energy through the breath. Because then it takes the stress off the body, takes the stress off the mind, to be able to channel emotional energy that makes you jump up and down or cry or scream or makes you angry. Learn to channel that energy through the breath, and you remain clear, you remain balanced, you don't get triggered, you don't get irritated, you don't overreact to situations, and you can perform better. You're a better lover, you're a better teacher, you're a better parent, because you learn to manage your emotional state, manage your psychological state, manage your physiology, your chemistry. My early training was in the military. I was a deep sea diver. Mm-hmm. I did underwater rescue. I practiced breath holding. And, when you're in a life and death situation, high stakes life and death situations, if you can't manage your arousal, if you can't manage your heart rate, if you can't manage your focus, you're useless. And I was the last resort. And so if I couldn't help, there was the end of the game. So I never had to work unless something terrible had happened. Mm-hmm. And then I was called. And I never knew what I was getting called into. Literally diving down into the dark and not knowing what's waiting. And if you can't manage your arousal, you can't function. So I just intuitively learned you know, I learned to breathe in those times to focus, to get a handle on my energy. And then once I got out, applying those same principles, if they work in those high stakes life and death situations, in our everyday stresses, it's a piece of cake, as we say.
Look at that, because every time we stress out, for example, I don't know, we're, for example, the exam is upcoming, or like anything, like you before a date, for example, you're stressed and you're breathing like,
yeah, you get this anxiety feeling, yeah, right.
And that's it, you're like, pump it up, and then it's growing, and the stress is growing. So we should do the opposite, correct? And like,
well,
what do you say?
Practice both. I mean, anxiety is aliveness.
Yeah, that's true.
And so if you're getting butterflies in your stomach, you're on the first date, or you got a promotion at work, or you're about to lift off on a ski slope, or jump out of a helicopter, or you have an important presentation or a stressful conversation, the ability to manage that energy. I had a really wonderful teacher, Robert Gerzon, who wrote a book back in the early 80s called Finding Serenity in the Age of Anxiety.
I know the book.
And he understood anxiety as a cord made up of 3 threads. And the first anxiety was natural anxiety. That's what we're talking about.
Yeah.
You're on a first date. You should be nervous.
I know.
It's exciting. Yeah. And then there's toxic anxiety. And that's caused by this voice in our head. How can I be so stupid? What's wrong with me? I can never get it. I don't think I can make it. And that kind of voice causes a different kind of anxiety. It's not healthy. It's a toxic anxiety. And then the third thread is sacred anxiety.
What is that?
This is connected to the big questions in life. Who am I? Where did I come from? What happens when I die? What's my purpose? What is life? I mean, these are questions that even if you don't ask them, they're
there.
They're there, and they come up every once in a while and consume you. And so anxiety is usually made up of those 3 threads. So you unravel them and you treat one way and the other way, and that's learning to manage anxiety. There's the Harvard method came out of Harvard University called cognitive reframing. So someone feels anxious, and out loud you say 3 times, I'm excited, I'm excited, I'm excited. And 30% reduction in anxiety immediately.
Because it's sort of a release with this loud voice.
Like, you're experiencing something and you're automatically framing it in such a way, so you interrupt that and you reframe it. I'm not anxious, I'm excited. I'm not afraid, I'm alive.
I hear you. Yeah.
And I learned the hard way and through practice that the energy of fear and the energy of excitement is the same exact energy. And so if you feel fear and you say yes to it, your experience is excitement.
Okay.
And
if I say no?
Excitement, and you say no to it, then the experience is going to be fear. But it's the same energy. Oh, wow. You say yes to it, it's excitement. You say no to it, it's fear. But it's the same energy of aliveness. It's an increase, it's a rush of aliveness. And if you resist it, it's painful, it's scary, it's frightening, it's difficult. But if you open to it and welcome it, the experience is very different. And that's the main breathing exercise I teach. The inhale is open and expand. Literally open and expand. If you're meeting something or someone, you want to open to them fully.
Yeah.
And then relax and let go. That's the exhale. So with every breath, you open and expand. You relax and let go. And you can meet and greet whatever arises internally and whatever you meet externally by opening to it and relaxing in the presence of it. And then you have grace, you have movement, you have choice. You're not frozen, you're not stiff, you're not reacting. There's a space for change. So this practice of opening and expanding and relaxing and letting go, it works on all of our, mentally you open and expand, right? Your heart opens and expands. Your body literally opens and expands. And that makes life a lot
easy and interesting and easier. I was about to say, because there's amazing saying which everybody knows, like before responding or reacting, just take a breath. So it's literally take a breath, right?
Right. It's a cliche, but you got to actually do it. Yeah.
Just at least
how you do it means a lot. You're using muscles that aren't necessary. Are you contracting
Yeah.
while you breathe? Are you focusing on something scary? Are you imagining something beautiful? So what you're doing while you breathe makes all the difference. So what's the most beautiful thing you can imagine? And while you're breathing in, be taking it in, you know, that changes a simple breath into something quite
Oh,
extraordinary.
wow. Let me stop you there. So, what to imagine when you breathe in, this is what you breathe in.
That means everything. Yes,
Wow.
yes,
It's the
yes.
first time I hear it.
What you're focusing on when you breathe in, what you're conscious of, that's what the breath is lighting up. That's what the breath is giving life to. You have to be careful what you think about when you're breathing.
But
Because
you're always breathing.
you're
so,
always breathing, so you got to guard your thoughts.
Okay.
So if I have a lot of negative, limiting thoughts, every breath I take is giving those thoughts power, creative power. So I want to be careful what thoughts I give power to.
It's special about yourself, right?
Oh, you have to, and the
Because
more
we have
power you have with the breath, the more it's a moral, ethical obligation to not have negative thoughts, violent thoughts, limiting thoughts, because your breath gets so powerful, you can manifest and materialize something instantly. So we have to get a handle on our consciousness, and that's the first step in breathing. That's why we call it conscious breathing. Yeah.
Oh, wow. What is a sigh? Because I oftentimes see myself, even when you're talking, I'm like, I was wondering, what is that? It's part of breathing, but something different.
Yeah. There was a great study. It's 20 years old now, but when it first came out, I was so excited because it confirmed to me so much of what intuitively I found, I understood. And so they realized that the average person takes a sigh about 12 times an hour. About every 5 minutes, nature makes you take a breath that's twice as big as normal.
Yeah.
That's what a sigh is.
Yeah.
And you can't measure the part, but you can measure the inhale part. So medically and scientifically, a sigh is an inhale that's twice as big as your tidal volume, twice as big as your average breath. And nature makes us do that. And at first they thought that if you don't hyperinflate your lungs regularly, you're going to lose your respiratory capacity. So nature couldn't trust us to remember to take some deep breaths throughout the day, so it forces us. And most people have had that moment where your mind, but all of a sudden there's a big breath comes out of nowhere. You didn't do it,
Yeah.
you didn't think about it, and it has a certain feeling.
Yeah.
And the exhale that follows that, that's what we decide is a sigh. So I would invite people, anybody who's watching or listening right now, knowing that, take an inhale that's twice as big as normal, and that extra stretch, that's what triggers. And the
Feels
most
nice.
recent study on the sigh comes from Stanford University. It's got to be 6 months ago, 8 months ago, so a very recent study called cyclical sighing. So one sigh of relief after another for 5 minutes has more benefits than any meditation technique they've ever tested,
Okay.
more results than any stress or anxiety coping method. A simple sigh of relief, exaggerated and repeated one after another for 5 minutes. Cortisol levels dip by 20-30%. Heart rate slows down. Mind clears. Unbelievable. And a simple sigh.
Just like that. We always are capable of doing that, though, right?
And doing it consciously turns it into a powerful spiritual breathing practice. You clear your mind. Stress, tension is accumulating in the body, and this breath comes in and vents that stress. You know that 70% of our metabolic waste toxins
Yeah.
are released through breathing.
That what I wanted to ask. Is same as sweat or like the other kind of detoxification, but breathing is even
Literally
bigger.
detoxifying. Only 3% of our toxins are eliminated through defecation, bowel movements.
Yeah.
7% through urination, and 20% through perspiration.
Yeah.
That leaves 70% of the toxins that the breath is constantly releasing. So if you're holding your breath, if you don't have the habit of taking deep breaths from time to time, toxins are building up in your system, and they cause all kinds of problems.
So this brings us to my next question about breathing as healing.
breath is the ultimate healer. It's the ultimate healer. It continually feeds us life force energy. When at birth your umbilical cord was cut, up until that time, all the energy, all the life force, all the nutrients, everything you needed to live came through your umbilical cord.
Yeah.
And when that was cut, breathing replaced that.
Yeah. The first
So-
thing you do when you start living, right?
First breath, right. And so, but breathing is like cooking, it's like singing, it's like dancing. Everybody can do it.
But you get better
But
with
some people can take this stuff to the level of an art. And if you're going to take something to a level of an art, I think breathing might be the one thing that if you get really good at that, everything else you get good at. I like working with like seasoned martial artists or performers or celebrities. I work with Olympic athletes and all kinds of people, and they already have power. They already are bright. They're already excellent at something.
Yeah.
And then they bring the breath into it,
And
it gives them right. And like I work with tennis players or golfers or
Yeah.
martial artists, world champions. Sasha Kadilin, Greco-Roman wrestler years ago. You're in the top 1%. Everybody in that level, the 10 top tennis players in the world, their skill level is so close. On any day, anybody could win.
Yeah.
So if you just have a little edge, you're going to take the day. And breathing gives people that little edge. So.
Oh wow, look at that. Imagine that. And how would that, how to say, proper way or special way or even regular way of breathing could change the quality of our sexual energy?
Oh, absolutely. Oh, breathing is Tantra. I mean, inhale, exhale, male, female, yin, yang,
Yeah.
positive, negative. And it's a constant merging and a constant interplay. It's
Like it's exchange, right?
It's life making love to us with every breath. And if we want to get conscious, we can be making love to life with every breath. And the breath is making love to the body, and the body is making love to the breath. I mean, you allow breathing is a very feminine principle.
Is it?
In order to get the benefits from breathing, you have to be able to open and receive and be available.
Yeah.
Consciousness is that male aspect. So the link between consciousness and breathing, that's the king and the queen of the spiritual kingdom. So if you're and that's also the creative power. When you bring together consciousness and energy, something is created. Something materializes, crystallizes, manifests, because that is the creative process. Someone has a brilliant idea and they put energy into it and
Yeah.
right. Or they have energy and is looking for a place to go, and you find something to focus on and it turns into a piece of art. Yeah.
How beautiful is that, right?
Amazing.
You've mentioned in one of the, not more than one interview, this term, breath is the bridge. Would you please extend on that?
It's literally the bridge between the body and the mind.
The breathing.
Right. And it's the bridge between the material and the spiritual. It's the bridge between me and God. I mean, inspiration, expiration, respiration. The root of that word is spirit. That was my original awakening. Yeah, spirit. It's not an accident that's the root of that word.
Yeah.
Conspiracy.
I wanted to say that.
Breathe
Yes.
together.
Yeah.
The literal meaning.
Yeah.
And that's why it became dangerous to authorities and kings, because when people breathe together, they're exchanging energy, they're building on each other. It builds up into some force that cannot be overcome. It's powerful.
And cannot be controlled at some point, right?
Yeah, that's right. And my first awakening to the breath was in kindergarten and the Catholic school, and the priest talking to us about how God took the dust of the earth and formed the body of man and breathed into the nostrils, the man, the breath of life. I couldn't understand why everybody wasn't excited. I mean, it was like, what? God is breathing into us. And I have vague memories of the nun tapping me on my head, trying to calm me down, and the priest was pushing my shoulders, trying to get me to sit in my chair. I guess I got too animated, but it was like a spark that there's something magical, mystical, amazing in every breath we take. And we just haven't realized it. We haven't turned to it and really looked in and explored it. And you explore your breath. It's like a thread. You follow your breath. It takes you to the source of life. And The air that's in you right now was in me a few minutes ago.
Yeah.
We can't hide from each other.
Yeah.
Everybody on this planet is
It's breathing.
sucking off the same bubble of air. And some of the actual molecules of air that's circulated in the body of Jesus and Buddha and Lao Tse and Caesar, literally, in fact, some of those molecules are actually circulating in us. And that's information. So you learn how to hack that information. And you can be inspired by all the great saints. You can take on the abilities of all the great masters because it's alive in those molecules of air. When I breathe in, whatever I'm focusing on, there's moisture in the air. Thoughts are like little sparks. Moisture is a great conductor of electricity. Thoughts are little sparks of electricity. So when I breathe in, I'm taking in information. It bypasses my mind. But then all those little molecules of air burst and the information is released and I have intuition. I get a sense of people. And then when I breathe out, it's carrying with me who I am and how I am. And I'm contributing to the soup, the mass consciousness of the world. So are we putting something positive into that? Or are we putting something negative? That's a real responsibility. Consciously, you know, heart-centered. Think of love and compassion and joy and appreciation. And if you are in this state while you're breathing, you're impregnating the air that comes into you with that energy, and then you send it out into the world, and somebody just happens to take in a breath and it's released in them. I'm like a little child, but this stuff is happening.
Yeah.
We just don't know it.
Yeah, it reminds me, like, you know, this beautiful concept that, you know, brilliant ideas spark in the different mind at the same time.
Yeah.
And the one who starts doing it does it, right? It is the first one.
Right.
So it's, you know, the same with the breathing at some point.
Exactly. Everything is contagious.
Yeah.
And it's the contagion.
Justness.
The
Yeah.
breath is what's contagious. You know that yawning, for example,
Yeah.
is contagious.
Oh my God. Yes. I like everybody with
A white person yawns and someone always yawns.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I was really cool when I started studying this, and I learned that the part of the brain that controls yawning is called the precuneus. It's a little body in the brain, and that same precuneus is responsible for empathy. That's why breathing is contagious. And that's why psychopaths and sociopaths don't share the tendency to yawn when other people yawn.
Because they don't have empathy.
They lack empathy. Duh.
I didn't know that. Now I know.
Very
Thank
cool.
you. So
And
cool.
usually when I do this at the seminar, I'll go, who's not breathing right now?
Oh, right? Not breathing?
Who's a psychopath in the room?
Oh my God. For example, a hairdresser always notices the hair. I do the clothing, so I would notice what someone is wearing. Do you watch how people are?
I can't help it. In my peripheral vision, I'm listening, I'm sensing.
You're
I
hearing
can't distinguish.
yeah. Oh.
I'd have to be careful if somebody, are you staring at my chest? No, no, I mean, well, yes, but no, but well, sort of, but not really. I can't help but notice breathing patterns. And I learned to read them. Like, for example, when I was in the military, I had special skills, special operation skills, and I was often sent to work with a team for a special mission. And I never trained with these guys. I didn't know them, and now I have to go into who knows what. And I found that people would fall into two general categories when you push them to the extreme or when they went beyond their ability to cope. To me, they fell into two different categories. One of them hyperventilated, and the other one held their breath. Or they had a tendency to overbreathe or underbreathe. And so I would stress them on purpose to see. And then I knew how to coach them ahead of time. I knew how to guide them if they got frozen or if they started running around like a chicken with their head cut off, yelling a bunch of stuff and doing things. I needed to be a human straitjacket. And then there were the zombies who just froze, and I needed to kick them in the ass or slap them and get them moving. And I could tell by watching their breathing who was going to default in which direction, and I could keep everybody sort of in the zone, in the flow, by just reminding certain, like, hey, take a breath right now, or you slow your breathing down, slow down, double your exhale, shh. and other people, so they needed different coaching. And what I realized is, I'm starting to recognize the energy in people in how they breathe. And their personality is revealed in their breathing patterns. And everybody knows this. When you're peaceful and calm and happy, your breathing pattern has a certain flow and a quality. And when you're angry and upset and afraid, your breathing pattern is very different.
Yeah.
Your state changes, your breathing pattern changes. And the magic is you can learn how it's a two-way street. You want to put there, and there are breathing patterns, and there are qualities in the breathing that are connected to sublimely peaceful states and ecstatic high states. And you identify those breathing patterns, and you can put yourself into any state you like.
Because I'm not, how to say, I do not know many breathing techniques, but I've tried rebreathing.
Oh, my favorite. My core
look at that.
technique.
Yeah, so it's, my question is like, if you could expand a little bit, not only about like every day what we do, like, you know, we breathe and we live, but there's some practices which you could heal you, which could expand your conscious, which you could show you different things about yourself from the past or even previous lives. Could we go there a little bit, please?
Yeah, what I learned from breathing in the military, I learned, I learned the hard way. I literally drowned, and I had several near drowning experiences before I actually drowned. It was like I wasn't learning the lessons. Life was pushing me to the edge, and I wasn't learning. And it wasn't until I got pushed beyond the edge, and that's when I kind of really, and I had to be resuscitated. And those first few breaths, when I started breathing again, I discovered the ecstatic nature in the breath. I wasn't breathing molecules of air, I was breathing bubbles of light. And they were bursting, and it was ecstatic, and my borders dissolved, and the energy inside of me, it was no difference from the energy around me, and I couldn't tell where I left off and where you began. It was just this lost kind of and I wanted everyone to experience this. Every breath was just so amazing. But the way I learned it is I had to drown and be resuscitated. So you don't find too many people willing to sign up for that kind of training.
I know. I'd agree.
And so when I got out of the military, I was trying to, I need to teach this. I had had these experiences, and they came somehow from the breath, through the breath, but accidentally somehow. And I wanted to be able to somehow get a handle on that and understand it for myself and be able to teach other people. And that's when I discovered rebirthing. And I got out of the military. I had a lot of post-traumatic stress. I had traumatic brain injury. I had seen things that I wish I'll never be able to forget. I wish I could forget. And at night haunted me, and different things during the day would trigger it. And I'm having to constantly manage this something. And so many of my friends, I know a half a dozen guys I work with who literally committed suicide. They just couldn't handle it when they got out. And so when I got out of the military, I had 10 years of veterans benefits, educational benefits. As long as I was a full-time student, the government paid for my housing, they paid for my books, they paid for my tuition. So I decided to be a permanent student. As long as the government was willing to pay me, I was going to keep learning. And so I was at the University of Massachusetts, and I met my first genuine mentor, Milton Young. And I met him in the parking lot one morning on the way to class, 1976. And he was like floating, and he was giddy, and I'm going, Milt, you look a little weird today.
What happened?
He goes, oh yeah, I just did this breathing thing. And everybody knew I was into breathing. And he goes, yes, you'll probably like it. It's called rebirthing. I said, yeah. So he said, I'll tell you what, if you go learn it, write a paper for me, and I'll give you a semester's worth of credits. So, okay, all I got to do is breathe, and I get my housing allowance and my food, and I get, sure, I'll breathe for that. And I had my first session with this very weird woman, Annabelle Booten. She had these thick Coke bottle glasses. And so when you looked at her eyes were like, I couldn't look at her because it was so weird to see this giant. And she smoked. And she, And she's
The
talking
breathing.
to me about breathing. Yeah, I'm going, oh, lady, weird to begin with, and you're smoking, and this is supposed to be about breathing, but well,
Okay.
I'm getting credit, so I'll do
Yeah.
it. So she says, well, you know, lay down and breathe like this.
Yeah.
I'm going, that's it? Come on. All this time in trouble. This is supposed to be so amazing, and all I'm doing is,
Yeah.
well, after a few minutes, like weird thing. And then I got totally into that ecstatic state. And I felt the stress, like, just come off my body like skin off a snake. And I was raw and I was new. I was like a child. I was sensitive to everything. Everything was so beautiful. Everything made me laugh. Everything made me cry. And I go, I found it. I found it. Something I can do with other people so they can like find this place. And
Yeah.
I've never looked back. I've been to 75 countries. I've taught well over 300,000 people this technique. It's my absolute favorite breathing method. I lived with Leonard Orr. I traveled with him. I knew him for 40 years. The father of rebirthing. And oh yeah, it is the most powerful breathing practice on the planet, without exception. And there doesn't seem to be any depth limit to how good you can get at it.
There's no bottom.
And you don't have to be and a total beginner on their first session can get an extraordinary experience.
Exactly. And every time is different, right?
And every time is very different.
Sometimes you cry, sometimes you are born again, sometimes you get an orgasm. Anything could happen.
Yep. Cosmic orgasms become ordinary. Imagine what it would be like for an orgasm to start to come and then never end. Would you be able to could you sleep? Could you eat? Could you
work?
Get up and walk around?
Yeah,
could you
Yeah.
Well, yes. If you're forced to, you learn.
Yeah.
I'm in the middle of a permanent orgasm all the time.
Really?
Oh, and if I'm not careful and I start to tune into it, well, I'm not going to be able to continue this conversation. But I like that it's right under the surface, waiting.
Yeah.
All I need to do is turn to it.
Beautiful.
Open to it and relax into it, and it starts to come. And through breathing, you learn to regulate your energy. You know, I hear all these people, energy workers. What the hell are they doing really? Reiki practitioners and energy workers. They don't have a clue of the of the depth of that energy, of the fullness of that energy, until and unless they integrate breathing into it. And then it unlocks all of that stuff.
This is amazing. If we started today, what advice of like 1 or 2 techniques would you give to me? Because I can breathe. Look at that. I can breathe. But what's more to it?
I have 2 core techniques.
Would you share it?
Yeah. 2 core techniques. If you go back and forth and master them and learn to have them overlap and get good at both of them and play, then you're going to unlock the potential in the breathing without doubt. The first is a sigh of relief, which everybody knows how to do, but they don't do it consciously. They don't exaggerate it. I'm saying a sigh of relief and start to exaggerate it and slow the inhale down so it's a meditation. So the inhale has to be long enough, 4 seconds, 5 seconds, 6 seconds, 8 seconds, long enough to really begin to experience what is happening. You are opening and expanding side to side, front to back, top to bottom. The breath is going to every cell in your body. And you want to wake up to that experience. It's already happening. So you slow your inhale down, you turn it into a meditation. You pull it beyond what normally feels full. It's twice as big as normal, twice as deep, twice as full. And then when you let go of the exhale, you snap it loose. You don't let it out slowly. You don't blow. You don't control. You snap it loose like bursting a balloon. Just releases. and you learn to get really good. And when you let the breath go, you let your jaw go. You let your neck and shoulders go. You let your whole body go. You let your thoughts go. You let your past go. You let your sense of self go. You get better and better and better at letting go totally, completely. And there's no limit to how much you can let go, how deeply, how totally you can let go. And you link that letting go of muscles and joints along with the letting go of the breath, and something clicks. So you make it exaggerated and dramatic and then theatrical or Shakespearean sigh of relief. You know, like, what is a Shakespearean sigh of relief? Figure it out and make it happen. And you got a lizard brain, a crocodile brain, and that brain goes, what was that? Like, you know, it sends a signal to your nervous system that just, it transcends normal, familiar comfort zone. And you keep sending wave after wave. How good can you feel on the exhale? How much can you melt? And how much pleasure can you take in? Who's your favorite person? What's your favorite flower? What's your favorite scent? What's the most beautiful image you can imagine? Who's God? Like, put that into the inhale. And then with the exhale, total surrender. And something's going to happen. Eckhart Tolle said, if you watch a child play, they don't get joy out of what they do. They put joy into what they do. And so breath work is the same thing. Hey, what can I get out of breath work? It depends on what you put into it. Put God into it, and you're going to get God out of it. Put pleasure into it, and you're going to get more pleasure than you can manage. And it's just a fact. Humans are really good at suffering. Pain, we got it down. But ecstasy, you're lucky if you can tolerate a few seconds of ecstasy.
How unfair.
And you can't handle it.
I know.
And so that's the game. Like, see how much pleasure your system can tolerate. And you'll be surprised, not very much. And in fact, our system, body-mind system, doesn't know the difference between intense pain and intense pleasure. Within a certain zone, there's no doubt. This feels good, this hurts. But if you get outside of that, the system can't make sense. All it registers is the intensity.
The intensity of something.
And it reacts the same way to intense joy, intense bliss, as pain or fear. And so once you get that, like I've interviewed Holocaust survivors, I met some beautiful people and prisoners of war, guys who were tortured in prison. And old ladies who, you know, their whole family were killed in the Holocaust, and they were tortured, and if they survived, they were cracked open by that horrible experience. And since they were cracked open, they can enjoy things more than the average person. You have a simple cup of tea with them, and you can't help but realize, oh my God, this person is enjoying tea so much more than me. Just tea. They get such pleasure out of simple things. It doesn't take a big thing to get a lot of pleasure. And it works the other way. So if pain cracks you open, your ability to tolerate pleasure has also been increased. Because of the intensity. And it works the other way. If you could have a mind-blowing, ecstatic experience, you handle pain so easily. You can handle a lot of pain, a lot of stress, and it doesn't hurt because you've been cracked open. So that's what rebirthing is. Rebirthing is giving people that experience. And it's very confusing because they think they're suffering. They're having weird things are happening. But I'm going, no, this is something beautiful. Something amazing is happening. Relax, keep breathing. And sure enough, the whole situation just transforms. And I love being with people when they when they have that experience. I'm addicted to it. Yeah.
Yeah. And when you allow, I mean, the person who's doing it allows himself to experience that.
That's
because
the word.
The
Allow.
brain, yeah, because the brain might be like, what is happening? This is weird. This is awkward. No, this is too much. No, I'm just going to wait. You know? Yeah.
That's that part of the mind that just
Yeah.
insists on, let it be like a kid in the back seat of the car and you're just, I gotta pee, when are we gonna get there? How much longer? You just keep
Are we there
driving.
yet? Yeah.
Right, are we there yet? And you can expect your body-mind system to be throwing all this stuff at you when you're in a transformational process.
Yeah.
And it is transformational. And we are afraid of transformation. If a caterpillar had a human mind, it would never become a butterfly.
Bravo. Yes.
Because everything in that caterpillar's body turns into mush, and you call a doctor, help, fix me, stop.
Yeah.
And so if you can get your head out of the way, if you can get your mind out of the way, something can come through. And breathing is the trick. If you're focusing on breathing, you're not focusing on what you usually would focus on. And so there's a possibility. As long as you're thinking the same old thoughts, then when you have an experience, your mind is going to translate it into something it already knows.
Yeah.
And it's going to insist on doing that. And it's going to limit what's happening because it by itself, you can't wrap your mind around God. You can't wrap your mind around infinite energy. But the mind insists on trying. And so that's why in the East, they say we need to drop the mind. We need to drop the body. But good luck. Those are parts of you. You got to transform your mind. You got to relax your body. And every breathing session, you get a little better and better at that until all of a sudden it's like that last straw that breaks the camel's back, but in a good way.
Yeah.
That last little ounce of patience or practice, and something happens. So.
Would you advise to practice the exercise you showed us?
Yeah, the two core techniques. Sigh of relief.
Yeah, so I would do that, what, every day for a few minutes?
My favorite practice formula is 10 plus 10 plus 10 times 2.
What is that?
There it is. 10 minutes in the morning, 10 minutes at night, and 10 times during the day for 2 minutes. So that's 40 minutes a day of a real serious spiritual practice. There is no way your life won't change after the second day. You cannot breathe for 10 minutes in the morning, 10 minutes at night, and interrupt your day 10 times for 2 minutes and practice circular breathing, or practice sighs of relief, or just practice observing your breathing. That's 40 minutes that you have integrated into your life. That only has a difference. It's
quite a lot in a good sense, that it's much, but it's not much. It's like, do you have 2 minutes every hour, let's say? You do have.
But we're talking about maybe 200 breaths a day. Somebody says, oh my God, I have to practice 200 times. You mentioned in the beginning, we breathe 20,000 times a day. I think 200 is 1%.
Yeah.
If you're not interested in applying 1% of the breaths that God gave you toward your own self-realization, then you're not interested in it. And that's okay. Maybe your next lifetime you'll be interested. But don't pretend you are if you're not.
Yeah.
And if you can't invest 1% of your breaths into your awakening, you're not ready to awaken, you're not interested. But if you do, it has to happen. It will happen. It cannot not happen.
Beautiful. What's the second one? You said 2.
Circular breathing. Connected breathing. Now in the military, they call it tactical breathing.
Tactical breathing.
It's inhale turns into the exhale, turns into the in. It's like a wheel turning.
It's no interruption. It's like...
Right. No gap, no pauses.
Is the speed important?
There it is. You want to, it's like a wheel turning. So, and you experience it like a wheel. It can be a little wheel that turns quickly, like a happy dog.
Yeah.
Little wheel spinning, or a big wheel that turns slowly. Or anything in between. You get to decide. You choose. And whatever you choose, I want to integrate it. I just took those breaths and it got energy moving. I suddenly thought of my mother. I thought of my son when he was born. I just thought of making love to someone. That breath just awakened every beautiful memory, every beautiful feeling in my body. Just a couple of minutes of that kind of breathing and everything wakes up. So those two things, circular breathing, sighs of relief. Circular breathing, sighs of relief. Two core techniques. And Leonard Orr invented something he called 20 connected breaths, which is one exercise anybody can do. So I just took 20 connected breaths, and every fifth breath was that sigh of relief. You can do it through your nose, you can do it through your mouth, you can do it standing up, sitting down, you can do it while you're stopped at a traffic light.
Yeah.
20 connected breaths. It's going to pull energy into you. And that circular breathing is like a centrifuge. It will spin out of your aura any energy that you've picked up that doesn't belong to you. That's circular breathing. It's like a centrifuge. It spins off, and it also has centripetal force. It will draw into you energy you need. The same circular breathing. So, and it becomes a spiral. And you can enter this vortex, spiral vortex, or you can come out of a vortex. And the same breathing pattern can be used in opposite ways, in different ways. It's one of the most beautiful, and you can do different versions of it, very subtle. Or it can be very powerful, very intense. You do it laying on your belly, do it laying on your side, do it standing on your head, do it while you're walking around, do it eyes closed, do it eyes open, do it powerful, do it subtle. And your intuition will start to guide you. And the breath itself will begin to guide you. The spirit of the breath, the life in the breath, you're staying connected to it often enough and long enough that it begins to go, hey, we got a live one here. We got somebody who's really committed. Let's help this one. But if you do it sometimes and don't do it other times, or you do it 30% focus, or Spirit says, okay, this person's not ready. But if you're total, there's no substitute for that totality. You put your heart, your mind, your body, your soul into every breath. That totality, that's what awakens the power of the universe in us, and nothing but totality will do it. That means passion. That means enthusiasm. That means
I see that in you a lot.
And that's what unlocks the power of the breath. You can't be lukewarm, wishy-washy. If it's not a passion, you're not gonna. Nobody's ever created, discovered, or invented anything really amazing
with a little
passion.
bit.
This the classic story of the artist who locks themselves in their studio, doesn't eat, doesn't sleep, or the mad scientist who's in his laboratory and he doesn't go outside and have blah blah conversations.
With a glass of wine and girls
watch TV. He's like he's possessed.
He's in there.
Oh yeah. And if that happens when you're breathing, I want to be there, because that's when the miracles happen. And if I can like help it happen, I want to be there.
Is there a difference between male and female bodies in terms of breathing, in terms of teachings of breathing? What would be more useful separately, or is always the same?
I have to say that, 70% of people who come to my seminars are women, and very often 80%. Women seem to be ready. Women seem to have a natural capacity to actually receive. They're better at getting out of their head. they're more connected to their body. They
Yeah.
feel, they sense.
Yeah, I hear you.
They're emotional beings, which is like the first few years of our life, we were not rational. We had no cognitive center. You were a limbic being. You were an emotional being. You're a feeling being. And I think women in general maintain that capacity through life better than men. So it makes them more available, more susceptible for the best things about breath work. But you need that consciousness that cuts like a knife. It's the marriage between, the male and female aspects of us. That's what. But they're different. I think women in general are more free with their emotions. They're more willing to feel. It's a generalization, but it seems pretty true.
Yeah.
Men are kind of, look tough, not be scared. They cope by being numb to their feelings.
I hear you.
Women cope by being sensitive to their feelings, and so they're quite different. And women need to learn a certain something, and men, they need to learn a something.
But what I was thinking, that breath work, especially the one with counting, would make a lot of sense for men who are very goal-oriented, like logic, strategic. I imagine my husband, he would not do like freestyle breathing, but he would 1, 2, 3, breathe out. 1, 2, 5, breathe in.
Exactly.
It's and he would do that. That would work,
Give him something, I'll make use of that for sure. That's why Wim Hof, a lot of people have aware of Wim Hof. Hyperventilation, breath holding. And 30 breaths, okay.
Okay, exactly.
2, and then hold your breath for 10 seconds.
Okay, I can do that.
Right. Give the mind something to focus on, and the guy's all in.
That's how I see it. One more question about women. Me, as a woman, I see so many women around me. We tend to contract our belly to not to have the pouch here, and we breathe so we do harm to ourselves, right? Please say it out loud.
And you're activating the sympathetic branch of your nervous system every time you breathe high in your chest. That produces anxiety, literally.
Even when it's not there.
Right. Yeah. And this ancient nervous system in our brain, it monitors every breath we take. So if I go through the day breathing, I'm scaring the shit out of my crocodile back
Especially the way you show it.
And breath holding is an emergency signal. When you hold your breath, that's an emergency signal. I'm on antelope. I'm out in the Serengeti plains or whatever, and I'm chomping on the ground. And I hear a noise in the bushes. And people hold their breath throughout the day and they don't even know it. Putting a key in a door. And you don't even realize you're holding your breath for a minute.
Trying to remember the password.
Trying to think of something. And you hold your breath. While you're doing that, you're sending an emergency signal to your lizard brain. So that's why you need to consciously breathe in those moments when you usually hold your breath. Relax in those moments where you automatically tense up, and you'll change your life. Just remembering to breathe and relax in those moments when you hold your breath and contract. But that requires consciousness. That's why it's the first thing. There's breathing and relaxation, but first you need the consciousness. And when we need to relax the most is when we don't think of relaxing. And when we need to breathe, that's when we're unconsciously holding our breath. So consciousness is the key. You have to start being aware and conscious of how you're reacting in the moment. How are you breathing when someone is insulting you? How are you breathing when you're stuck in traffic? How are you breathing when you're enjoying music? That's when, and most people, they would never turn to their breath. How are you breathing when you're angry? You're focusing on who's making you angry or what you're angry at, and you're not aware of your breathing. And if you could turn your attention to your breathing in that moment, you're going to grow. You're going to heal.
Wow. So it is. Thank you so much, Dan.
Yeah.
It was lovely. It was so interesting. And the way you show it, in the next lifetime, you should be an actor, for sure, right?
Okay.
Okay. Thank you so much. It was lovely. And thank you very much,
My pleasure.
girls. Bye-bye.